All right, this is Zeitgeist episode, whoever, I don't know what it is, but the Zeitgeist of the moment. I don't know if you guys even know what Zeitgeist means. It means spirit of the times in German, and I think the spirit of the times at the moment is Counter-Strike 2. So obviously a lot of people have been talking about CS2. I want to talk about CS2 as well. I've been playing almost exclusively CS2 since I got it, but I thought I'll get a couple of crackheads. Crackheads? That's probably not the terminology.
Crackheads.
It's
out there now.
I wanted to go with like a crack team of Counter-Strike professionals to talk about CS2, but I went with crackheads. Anyway, we've got the crackheads here. We've got Viridian and we've got Jim. Jim, obviously a dinosaur from back in the day. When did you even start CS? Was it in 1.6 or were you in Source?
I actually ported over with Steam, so literally 20 years ago right now. Like I had a CS 1.5 account, but my account was so... my internet was so bad that I couldn't download and upgrade to Steam.
Right. Well,
so I was 2 weeks late.
The reason I wanted to get you on was because I wanted like the boomer take on, all, because obviously you've been there since 1.6 to Source to Go, and obviously now Go to CS2 and what that impact was like. And for you, Viridian, aka someone who doesn't know how to pick a name, because you go by Eddie, you go by Viridian, you go by Viridian
Bowser.
City, you go by Viri, you go by Bowser Zero, you go by Bowser Viri. So what is it going to be? What should I actually put on the video?
Just
What's
Viridian,
the lower third?
Viridian.
Just Viridian.
Yeah. I like to keep people guessing, but Viridian. Viridian's it.
Okay, sounds good. When did you start CS?
Ooh,
Are you a Go kid?
yeah, Go.
Yeah, so you're the same as me, because like I didn't actually have any. I mean, I played a little bit of Source, but like not really.
Yeah, I watched my brother play Source, and I played some Source mods, but I went from TF2 to CS:GO in like 2016, 15.
Okay, sweet. All right, so that's I guess the context of where we're at. But I want to start this conversation by obviously talking about the shift from Source to Go and what that beta was like. Now, I obviously can't really comment on that, but I heard obviously that it was pretty bad, Jim. So I guess we'll start with you. You can give us the context there as to maybe how that has matched up with your experiences in CS2.
Well, in a weird way, for context, you actually got given a beta key in CSGO. Like you had to go into the Steam store with a beta key, and then you would be putting in your CSGO beta key. And that's like, I swear, there were 3 people that I knew that had the CSGO beta when we started. And like a lot of the people that I was playing with were ex-CS 1.6 players. And to be honest, the transition was really rough because at the start, a lot of CSGO actually played very similar to CS Source. And it was a very broken game. It was, I feel like CS2 is actually far more polished in terms of product. It just doesn't have the level of customization that people are used to. So it's kind of apples and oranges because they've done a better job of releasing CS2 than they did CSGO. CSGO was like, it was bad for what it needed to be. Like it had to unite a CS 1.6 community and a CS Source community.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've heard, and I think it's a bit of a different ballgame now. Obviously, there's a lot more money involved in all of this and stuff, so they can't really afford to sort of fuck it up the same way that maybe they did for Global Offensive. What's your experience been with CS2, Eddie? How early did you get it? Like, because I've only noticed you really playing it in the last week or so.
Well, that's mainly because like in Oz, it's just dead. You play like an hour testing out the updates, but then after that you get bored of it. There's nothing much to it. Yeah. But I got it on the second wave. So pretty early on, and at the start, like it was cool, uncovering everything, discovering all the new stuff. But with the recent edition with the matchmaking, you just get a headache after playing like a couple of hours because it's not polished, like the movement isn't there, the mechanics and all that. But it's getting better. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let the dog in because he's gonna bark if I don't.
Bring him in.
There's now a dog in the studio, so if you see a tail flapping around on the bottom of the shot, or maybe he'll jump up on someone's legs.
Yeah, hang on.
There you go.
It's all right. I mean, this is not supposed to be like super professional or anything like that. We'll just keep chatting. The first thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with CS2 was Premier matchmaking, because obviously this is a big change compared to Global Offensive. Obviously, Global Offensive did have but it wasn't like the
Not
thing.
in beta at all.
Okay.
Like there was no global matchmaking system in beta. It literally was the old dedicated server route, and that's all that you could use to play. So either someone had to know someone. I think back in Australia there was only one provider, and it was Pantheon
Pez.
or Pez, as they are now. And that was it. Like dedicated servers only. You had to organize and find other people who could play. Whereas now I feel as though with the way that the invites are distributed, it's a bit of a mix really as to whether or not you're getting some guy that's played for a week as opposed to now you're getting, or back then you were getting guys that were given beta keys. They were handed out. Like, people could get them.
I think there's a lot of issues still with Premier matchmaking. Like, I like it. I like the fact that it exists. I like the ELO system. I think that's all good, but obviously there's a few issues, and I mean, I think we've all probably run into the fact that, as a solo or a duo or a trio, you can play against a 5-stack, which I think is probably just not it.
Yeah, I think right now people are kind of, like, even though it's a bit annoying focusing, or like when you get matched up against a 5-stack, I think the main focus that people should have is like testing the game.
Right.
Like, I don't know, people can 5-stack for their ELO and rating.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just, I'm playing, or like when I join a game, I just play to play and like test stuff out.
Well, I think the thing is though, like, obviously even then, that is something that, like, when you're playing that and you get matched into a 5-stack, in a way you're testing whether or not that's like something that should exist in live when the game is released. And I think obviously looking at that from the perspective of someone that's obviously played like a lot of League, for example, and a lot of stuff like that, you can't play in a 5-stack and play in a game with solo and duos in that game, for example. And I always thought that was a good system. I always thought if you're in a 5-stack, you should only verse other 5-stacks. If you're in a solo or duo, you should only play a solo or duo. I don't mind the fact that you can have a 3-stack. I think that's fine, even though you are a majority. The only issue I see with that is like, obviously with the map vetoes, if you're the majority on your team, you can guaranteed force the vetoes, because you can have 3 people vote for the same thing. So that's the only thing, but it's like, well, I mean, is that really a big deal? I don't think that's a super big deal.
It's no different than any other pug system, right? Like you in other pug systems, like say for example, Face It, you've got a captain that, like, for most of them, even if you've got Face It Premier, you can be the captain and vote. So that's sort of, I don't know. I don't feel like the vetoes may be a core part of matchmaking, whereas in CS:GO you just select which maps you didn't want to play, and if you wanted to only queue one map, you could do that.
I think it's way better that you can't force cancel maps. Like, I've always been someone that's more or less like wanted to play the entire competitive map pool.
Yeah.
I don't want to be forced to just play Mirage.
Yeah, like
over again.
In Face It, you just hop in a game and there's like 4 match banned already because of someone having premium.
That's true. Yeah, I think that sucks.
It's pay to veto. You don't want that. Like, I think as well, a lot of people are concerned about their ratings, and I think it's way too early to be concerned about that, because
should get reset, right?
Well, exactly. I reckon there's going to be seasonal resets. There has to be.
Imagine being a player who doesn't have the CS invite, and like when the game fully releases, you're just so far behind. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
No, it shouldn't. It definitely should get reset. The other thing that I think is, like, obviously skill-based matchmaking, I find, is maybe not quite there yet either. And I don't know if that's just because there's not enough people playing, and therefore there's not enough good players at the top end. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can speak to, although actually I didn't mean this to be a dig, but actually I don't think your rating's as high as mine at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate.
No comment.
I'm 14, just over 1400. I think you're just below it, right?
Yeah, but
what are you, Jim? You haven't got a rating?
I actually haven't got a rating yet.
You're not I've seen you. Like, I've got you on my friends list, but I haven't seen you in the ladder.
No, I haven't actually played any ladder matches in CS. Right. I've literally done exactly what Viri said he was doing earlier, which was just playing the updates,
right,
and just playing them in a vacuum,
and
just seeing how they go. I just don't think like playing the matchmaking system is going to give me the best experience.
No, I mean, for sure. And I think that's part of the issue, or the part of the conversation is I've like I said, I've more or less just been solely playing CS2 since I got it, which was about a couple of weeks ago. So I've actually played, I don't know how many games, I don't know how many wins I've got, but I think I probably played about 50 games of CS2, give or take. And I've got a ranking, and like, it's a decent ranking, but it's not an amazing ranking. It's certainly not at the top end. But even I find in a lot of my matches, I'm as a 1400 player, and I queue a lot with MC. So we're like duo, sometimes a trio, very rarely a 5-stack. But he's about 16 or 1700, something like that. We often get matched against people that are like 10,000 elo sometimes, and then other times it's like we're versing people that are more close to our rank, and then, I mean, that's anecdotally from my perspective, but I was watching, the Singapore stack of like Bulbasaur, Tommy, Splashkey, Kang, and those guys that are obviously rank 1 at the moment. I see a lot of their games, and like, they're not even getting games that are like remotely close, which, to be fair, like, how many people at the moment are 35k? Not that many, but the fact that it matches them against people that are just unranked, like, they're a 5-stack of 34k plus, and they're getting matched with people who are like solo duo unranked. It's like, obviously something needs to get fixed there. And is it just the fact that there's not enough people playing and therefore there's not enough good players, and also the fact that they've been able to overinflate their rank by 5-stacking and basically not losing games. Because like I also think like you're not even supposed to be able to hit 35k, like in theory, according to the system. If you hit 35k when the game goes live, like that's going to be supposed to be like rank 1, and like there's maybe going to be like 10 people in the world that can do that, because again, like when the game releases, you're in theory not supposed to be able to win 98% of your matches, even if you're 5-stacking, I would think, because you'll eventually verse other 5-stacks that are also good.
Yeah, I think the issue is too, like, it's either that, what is the bigger waste of time? Queuing for like an hour and waiting for a game that's actually of equal or
that's the other
better
thing, yeah.
ranking, or is it playing against the team that like you're just going to wipe the floor with? At least that'll be done in like 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me back when Facet's elo system is off, so you could like you get in the game and it's like +1 elo, -49 elo, and you know you're just playing, and eventually it's like no motivation to kind of keep grinding because you're just playing for 1 elo. It's like
yeah. I think that, again, that's kind of the thing about it. Kind of goes back to, should 5-stacking be a thing? If it is a thing, how do you have it in the game? Do you have it be a separate queue, like, or a separate elo? I mean, obviously a separate queue I think is bare minimum, right? If you're in a 5-stack, you should play against other 5-stacks. But should it be the same elo, or should it be a 5-stack elo as well?
Yeah, so Facet's, I'm pretty sure already experimented with that. Like if you're 5-stacking, it's going to prioritize 5-stacks, and it'll like delay the queue time for however long. And I think that's like the better way to go about it, because if you're solo queuing, like I had a game yesterday, just solo queued, everyone's solo queued on the team, and you're versing 5 players, just the elo is crazy high. Yeah. And it's just like,
what am I doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, the benefit, of course, is that it is just MR12, right? So like, it does save you a little bit. One thing before we do talk about MR12, I want to talk about this concept of seasons. I don't know if you guys have heard that. I was talking again to MC.
DE season?
Yeah, well, not that. No, but okay. I was talking to MC today, and he was telling me that there's this concept of seasons, right? Where so like I didn't see this myself, so maybe it's hearsay, but it would make sense to me that for the major period, right? There's going to be the set map pool that you play in Premier, which is obviously the competitive map pool, and then when they change it, they change the Premier map pool, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like that's just a good change in general. Like I don't know about you guys, but I never really enjoyed the like when you would get onto Office or whatever. Like I just
Zoo.
Some people had that in their like map, in their
agency
when they would queue in CS:GO, and I only had like the competitive map pools plus train cache, those kinds of maps. But like
a cobblestone, like you'd love to get thrown in something like that.
Yeah, but would I if it's not like if I'm playing Premier matchmaking? If this is supposed to be like the queue that you grind if you want to be a player who is taking it seriously, I want it to be as close to the professional experience as possible.
That's
not
true.
Only because of the fact that I just want to play the maps that the pros are playing, but I also just think that there's that from the top down, you want the experience to be as close as possible for everyone. Because even if you're not interested in esports, there's almost an angle where someone that is just playing Premier for fun then goes, oh, these guys play this map. I want to watch them play this map and see how they play it. But they're not going to necessarily do that if they're playing fucking CS_Office and just fucking around.
That's a concept also like borrowed from games like Rainbow Six, for example. Like there's a seasonal map pool per se, and they don't make huge changes. Maybe 2 maps at a time that come in and out is probably the most that you ever realistically want. But I don't mind that. Like as long as it's not constantly changing every season, like.
Well, I don't think it's not that bad, even like if it's every 6 months. What do you think, Viridian? Because obviously you're more so from like the quote unquote pro player side of things, whereas we're from the talent side of things more so. So for me, I don't mind that variety. I like to see that variety. I think one map change in the competitive pool every 6 months would be really good, actually.
It'll keep it fresh for sure. Like when Dust 2 got removed for Anubis.
Yep.
Yeah. When Dust 2 got removed for Anubis, at first people were like, I don't know, not too sure. But
people weren't fans of Anubis.
Yeah, exactly. But later on, it helped not make the game stale.
See, what I think happens is you get to a point eventually where you've cycled through enough maps that the maps that are getting brought back in are maps that have already been played in the competitive pool before. So, like I'm saying, I'm talking about, like, for example, Train, for example, Cobble, for example, Cache. Like, I know they've changed, but the fundamental aspects of the maps are still there. Obviously, Dust 2 as well. If you were to take out, I don't know, let's just for the sake of argument say take out Vertigo. That seems to be the one that most people want to get rid of at this point.
Bad.
And bring back Train. People aren't starting from zero on Train. There's already like an understanding of how the map plays out, what the meta is looking like. And sure, obviously new things are going to change, especially with CS2, skyboxes and smokes and blah, blah, blah. We'll get into all of that. But I think at a certain point, you can actually cycle through at least a map every 6 months and not have people starting from zero. It'll be harder for a pro player, but I think it's better from just the entertainment side of it.
I think, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, otherwise, like... the problem with that is if it's only one map change per season, and this is like the other side of the coin, is like once a map's in, how long are you stuck with it for? Like, because if it's Vertigo, for example, does it have to wait the cycle of six other seasons?
I don't think it necessarily has to.
But
it just can be like, what's the most popular map? Okay, well, like let's say, for example, I don't think you can get rid of Nuke, Mirage. Probably you can't get rid of Inferno now that they've updated it. So to me, those are like almost locks. I think Ancient Anubis, they're too new to remove. So yeah, to me, it's like
Mirage, really.
Vertigo.
Like, that hasn't, like, the skybox change was all they did to that map.
Yeah, but I mean, Mirage is like the quintessential pug map at this point. Like, if
get rid of it.
I don't know if you do though.
I don't know.
For the casuals, I think, to be honest, like I used to not really enjoy Mirage all that much just from watching it, but like when I play it, it's one of my favorite maps to play.
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking about like, if you're interchanging maps, let's say every 6 months, like as a player or like, you know, competing, it just depends on the mindset. Because like, let's say you grind a map for 6 months, right?
Yep.
And then you want to like hit certain goals of that map, like beat a certain team on that map, and you're focused so hard on just getting better at that map, getting up to date with the meta, and then it gets swapped out. It's like, maybe there's like a time limit on your kind of story or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I think that is, I mean, that's still possible though. That's the unfortunate reality is that who knows, like as of tomorrow, Valve could just say, yeah, look, Train's back in the map. We'll see you later, Mirage. And like, no one knows when that's going to happen necessarily. But anyway, I think we've talked about maps long enough. Let's talk about...
Valve need to release their grip on what is open into the competitive map.
You reckon?
To be honest, yeah. Because like they have gotten rid of any maps that they don't own the IP for. And like, don't get me wrong, from a developer side of things, I get it. But like, you're losing a lot of flavor with Cache.
Do they own Cache? They don't own
Cache. Santorini, Tuscan, and I think Season as well. Like, they're just 4 examples of maps that have been in different
surely
versions.
If they wanted to, they could just buy them.
Yeah, well, that's true. They don't want to pay though. That's the other thing.
They should.
Santorini's never been a competitive map, by the way. But the other 3 have actually at least in either CS 1.6 or Source had a run.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's talk about MR12. That's, I think, obviously a pretty hot topic at this point in time. I don't know what your perspective is, guys, but I've actually been a big fan of it. I've really enjoyed it. Again, I'm talking more so from the perspective of like someone who's playing casually. Like, I know I'm involved in CS from a hardcore perspective that I watch all the CS games, I cast and stuff like that. So I guess in that sense, I'm a hardcore CS fan. But like just as a player, I would consider myself as a casual. I'm not trying to be a good player. I'm not really trying to grind a rank or anything like that. And I think
still trying to win.
Yeah, I'm trying to win, obviously. And I do take it seriously when I'm playing. Like I'm trying my best, even though I'm a bot. But you know, I think MR12 is actually fantastic from that perspective. The fact that when you queue into a game, I mean, it doesn't. Like 3 rounds difference or 4 rounds difference doesn't really feel like that much. I guess it's 3 rounds. 3 rounds difference doesn't really feel like that much. But I think when the game ends, you're like, fuck, okay, that was pretty quick sometimes. You know, like especially when it's like a 12-1 or 13, what is it, 13-1 or something like that?
Yeah.
But still getting used to that. But I've been a big fan of MMR12. Just the fact that the matches are shorter. It doesn't feel as punishing when you're in like one of those absolutely cursed games where you just know you can't win. You're not stuck there forever. So what have you guys thought about MR12 in CS2?
It's only going to get weird when it gets into like OT, right? That first set of OT, because everyone's played like CS 1 point anything and been used to MR15. Like,
why is that weird though?
Because you're like used to getting to playing to 15, 16, and that being the winning point.
Oh, so what you're saying is like people aren't going to like understand what the number is because like you know when you get into MR3 from 15, it's 19. So what is it in? Is it 17? It's 13. It's 12-12, so it must be 17, right?
16 or 17. It depends on whether they're playing MR3 over time, right?
They are playing MI3.
Well, then it's got to be 17.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
Well, depending on how that half goes, it could be 16.
Yeah, it could be 16-16. But anyway, I don't know. Just in general, what do you think about MR12? Like apart from the OT aspect.
Yeah. So like in CS:GO, when I'm queuing matchmaking, I would never queue long matches. I would just queue short matches.
I was always short as well.
Because it's just a lot more enjoyable for that casual level. But in terms of competitive, I'm not really... Like, I'll have to play it more, but the thing that's missing out in competitive is that there's a lot more impact in certain rounds, like pistol round. And you get less chances to kind of build a story for your...
Yeah. See, but is that because of... That's like, is it necessarily because of MR12 or is it because of the economy at that point?
I was going to say the economy doesn't really support
because
MR12.
it's obviously like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. And need to hit that minimum 1900 loss bonus.
For the economy, I'm sure it'll get updated to compensate if they want to commit to MR12. The thing is, we don't know exactly what Valve wants to do. Like, this is a pretty big change, so why wasn't it in like the initial intro for the gameplay? So maybe
I don't know if they think about it that much.
We just don't know.
Yeah.
There's maps that have been in the map pool and they didn't clearly think about that either. So
yeah, that's true.
Like, what are the biggest issues with MR12 right now? It's obviously if you start CT, win the CT pistol, and then lose the second round to the force buy from the Ts, and then you're kind of cooked.
Yeah.
Or you also lose both pistols, or you get into that situation where you lose both pistols, or you win the pistol on CT, lose the second round, and then lose the second half pistol. Then you're like by default almost down like 0-6.
Yeah, so
there's
like
half the game.
There's more importance in certain rounds, but I think as a big picture thing, if you're playing it competitively against a team, it's like you have less rounds to kind of condition and kind of like build your strategy.
Right.
It's like you got to rely so much on just winning the rounds you need to win. You don't have like room to make mistakes, otherwise it just goes off balance.
So what would you want to see change then? Like, obviously, if they're not going to add more rounds back, which I don't think that they are, I think they're committed to MR12 because they already said that that's going to be the major format for the next major.
Right.
Is it? I mean, obviously the conversations I've seen around have been just cut the 1400 loss bonus and start from 1900.
Yep.
So that's one thing.
That makes sense.
Which in theory gives you more gun rounds and gives you better like early force buys, especially on the CT side.
There's no double. Like if you're in a position where you have to double eco, like that could just ruin your
Is there just a world where they kill double eco? Like there's no such thing as double eco, and already there's kind of like not really a proper double eco. You never see a full double eco anymore.
It happens, and usually happens at some pretty inopportune times for a lot of teams too. So that, like, it's usually the CT side that feels that double eco. You really have to be failing as T to cop it. But I think they also look. To be honest, they got a few options. And I think even just tweaking like the kill bonus could definitely help that. Yeah. Like for example, AWP's only $50 at the moment.
50 is 100. I think it's 100.
It's pretty detrimental.
Pretty sure it's 100.
The economy,
like 100,
right? It doesn't actually.
You're an AWPer.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Well, there
lock
you
it
go.
in. Trivia.
Yeah, lock it in.
But regardless, like they could tweak the kill bonus a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I think 300 base set's pretty good.
Yeah.
But maybe there are some other incentives in there for like pistols and things like that could actually bolster things a little bit. Get teams off the eco,
lower the cost of a defuse kit as well. Like these are I think I see it. The way I see it is there's two options. There's either change the loss bonus, make it 1900 minimum, or lower the price of the CT side economy. So lower the price of the defuse kit, lower the price of the molly, lower the price of the rifles. And either way, you're kind of achieving the same thing. But the fact that what would happen if you change the loss bonus is that is still like keeping the T's on. You know, it's like it's buffing the T side as much as it's buffing the CT side, which I think at the moment kind of the issue is that the CT side is a little bit too weak in the economic aspect. So like the issues are with the CT side economy, not necessarily with the T side economy, or am I wrong?
I was going to say the issues, to be honest, they exist with both. As you know, like each will have their pros and cons. But do they even roll back to maybe previous versions of CS, like where, for example, lower the cost of the rifle, but include the cost of ammo for it as well? Right. So like you could low buy, for example, in CS 1.6, and you go, okay, we're going to go Deagle like 14, and it was literally 2 clips of ammo, aside from the 7 that came in, and it was much more affordable for you because it was like $80 a clip of ammo for the Deagle.
I don't think we're seeing ammo costs come
Hey, look,
back.
it could. I'm just saying. I'm
very
like,
surprised
I'm
if
throwing
that
out
happened.
all the options.
They're trying to casualize the game more. They're not wanting to make you think about buying ammo at this point.
Pretty crazy.
Valve.
I wouldn't be
Listen to me.
surprised if they just now, instead of like letting you choose, in 10 years, let's say, that instead of letting you choose what nades you want, you just get a flash, a smoke, a molly, and a HE. And
Bring
that's
back
it.
the drama. Like,
Get rid of the decoy.
back.
Fuck
Okay,
that
way
shit.
back when, War Mod wouldn't tell you what or the scoreboard wouldn't tell you what your teammates' money was.
Okay.
So you'd have teammates
You'd have to
that would lie about their money.
Oh.
They're like, "Oh man, I can't drop you. I've got like too little."
Yeah, I got 3,700. I can
Then
only
you'd
buy
hear
AK
like
armor.
you'd hear them buy up, and then there'd be like a couple clips of ammo in there that would come
Yeah.
through, and you're like, "Oh, you're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying."
In the past, with previous iterations, did you have to buy ammo? Yeah.
In CS 1.6 you did. CS Source you didn't.
For that situation, was it MR12? Because in the
No.
past, yes.
Well, yes, it was originally MR12, and you had to still manage your money and your ammo. But like there was also the economy was a little bit different in that like as a T side you could starve. Like you could all just say, for example, it was 5-minute round timer. You could all sit in upper dark on Dust 2 and just camp it out, and it would actually be the CTs that would they win the round, but they'd be starved of money.
Right.
So like they were getting no money for that. Ts were getting the loss bonus,
Yeah.
but there was no like win bonus for the CT. So it was this weird stage of the game. So like yes, MR12 was a thing in CS way back in the day, but it's not the economy system that we're familiar with
for
now.
a long time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, another thing I wanted to talk about was like the subtick system and the performance of the game just in general. Again, like from the perspective of someone who has played a bit of CSGO, but like I haven't obviously grind 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 hours of CSGO. So like I don't have that same just general feeling for the game that I think a professional player would have. I've heard a lot of like players sort of not complaining, but obviously highlighting that there is differences and inconsistencies. You can feel it, I think, in particular with like the shooting. Obviously, the spraying feels weird. Even to me, I don't think like I was never good at spraying, to be fair. But
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm not just click, 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 click right now, I'm not hitting shit. But the movement as well. I don't know what you guys think about the whole subtick system. 128 tick versus 64 tick. We're probably not like necessarily qualified to like really give a super in-depth opinion on the whole subtick system and stuff like that, but just from a feeling perspective, I personally feel like the game, it feels okay to me, but I'm again a very casual player. Jim, again, you've probably put more hours into CSGO and all the other iterations than I have, and obviously Viridian, you've been around the block. You play every day. I see you streaming and stuff like that. So I guess you're probably the one that might have the biggest gripes with the system. Are you a fan or are you not a fan, or what do you think needs to change? And also, you've played a bit on Face It as well, the 128 ticks.
Yeah,
So
Face
can
It
you
server
talk
as well.
about the difference there, or maybe
Yeah.
do you feel it at all?
I'll add on to the Face It stuff, but initially the main thing is that it's getting better. Like the game's getting more polished and polished with every update. Like today there was an update, and I went on deathmatch, and compared to yesterday, just a lot better.
Oh, really?
This was on the matchmaking servers, yeah.
Okay.
So it's good that they're focusing on making it feel like Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Yeah.
And with the Face It servers, I went from matchmaking to the Premier mode to Face It. It felt really good on Face It, and then I went back to matchmaking, and it just felt...
You felt awful.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It's like running on sand, and then when you stop running on sand, you're like, holy shit, this feels amazing. I can go so fast. And then
Yeah.
you go back to running on sand, and
Exactly.
it's just like, oh no, this is awful.
And then the other thing is the movement. I'm a movement fanatic in a way.
You are. You're on the KZ all the time.
Like the movement in Counter-Strike is just so good. I love the strafing. I love how all the mechanics work. And initially with CS2, I got a headache after like playing a couple of hours.
Right.
It's like it's not the same, and it kind of messes with your aim too if you can't Counter-Strike properly and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard, did people say it was easier to bunny hop in CS2? Is that right?
Harder.
Harder. Okay, might have got it the wrong way
They
around.
might have reverted it back to I'll be honest and say I'm not a movement fanatic. I'm the kind of guy that like literally binds as many things to jump as possible. Like spacebar and scroll wheel. Like that's I'll just crawl through a
My
window.
dirty little secret is that I have jumps to spacebar only. I don't use scroll wheel.
I use spacebar too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
So-
don't see a
Less
point
chance of
stopping.
you jumping off a defuse accidentally. Though.
True.
That's the other.
Yeah,
thing.
that's the thing I'm always scared of. Is like, because I'm the kind of, and I know this is a tangent, but I don't know about you guys, but I always get, sometimes I'm like holding an angle, and then when someone finally peeks, I do get scared. Like I get jump scared.
Yeah.
And I like hit, like sometimes I'll just like drop my gun or some shit, because I like accidentally hit my G key or some shit like that. So like if I put jump on a scroll wheel, like I'm guaranteed fucked at that point.
You play a little bit of Apex, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Use the ping system, right? Which is mouse 3, and they've adopted that in CS. And like the problem with the ping system is it's mouse 3, so you're clicking your scroll wheel.
True.
And
if you accidentally
put it too close to the potentiometer, like you might not actually do anything with your mouse.
Like I don't have anything else on my scroll wheel. I don't have the swap weapons on my scroll wheel at all or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. What about Pika's advantage? That's obviously been a big talking point as well. It does feel pretty awful holding angles in CS2.
Yeah,
that's CSGO port, I reckon.
No, but like it's worse than CSGO, man.
It's so weird because like you just die, you don't even see the enemy.
Yeah,
they just have like that advantage, and maybe it's fixed with today's update, but it's just all over the place. The consistency. Yeah, like when someone right peeks you or left peeks you, they just farm you. They have a deagle out, your head's a magnet to the deagle bullet. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think as you'll start to experience this too in your career, you'll start to like try and contribute more to the team. So you don't want to be the guy that's necessarily like darting around corners. So your contribution comes less from like entering and you enjoy the more relaxed roles, hitting back, holding angles, and just contributing in that manner. Like for us boomers, like we didn't have to double eco to get a house. We were able to sit back and hold angles, and just like that was a big part of the game. Like you would choose angles, knowing that like for example, your opponent can't strafe in a certain direction if they're picking you from this angle. So
does an off angle exist in CS2?
I think everything's off so far.
Or is it just like you're doing it wrong if you're holding an angle?
Yeah, well, it still exists. Off angles still exist, but there's like certain angles that you should win the fight on. Yeah. And like you should just get the advantage straight away with your positioning and all that. But the enemy still manages to just
absolutely book you. Yeah. All right. If you hear a little tapping right now, I'm scratching the dog and his legs going wild. But let's talk about Inferno. Inferno. This is like the third iteration of Inferno or the fourth iteration of Inferno since Global Offensive, or maybe even fifth at this point.
The first version was the worst, where they had those pillars in Banana.
Yeah, I remember
that.
Pillars,
It was the worst.
But have you guys had the opportunity really to play much of the new Inferno? I actually haven't played that much of it, even though I've been playing a lot of CS2. For whatever reason, I just see it get banned all the time. I played a little bit of it last night. It's weird, actually. I find, for me, like playing Banana, just like, I don't know, it just seems so weird with all of the big walls and building roofs and stuff all over the place.
You're looking for a little pizzeria holding the Banana.
Exactly. I think one of the major things, and this kind of translates to other maps too, it's like there's so much clutter everywhere. And like the walls, they're not flat, so when you run up against them, you're just like, it's just really
awkward. Throw a nade on it and it like gets stuck in the corner or something.
Yeah, and it's weird because like Valve in the past have prioritized like simplifying certain things just to make the competitive gameplay like really consistent and top tier. So I assume what we see now in Inferno in terms of the clutter will just get cleaned up so much.
Yeah. That actually happened as well in early CSGO. They had this it was almost like a fog of war on certain maps. Now, it was like on Dust 2, for example, like you're taking that mid duel and you really like it was like this fog. It was like they're doing backburning on Dust 2.
Oh yeah,
and like
Australians
the same
will
thing.
Get it.
They got rid of a lot of the clutter. Yeah, like it was a process they went through. But while they were doing that, they provided a classic version of the map, but then there was a competitive version which had all the clutter removed. So like there was this duality where both actually existed at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that though. Like I like it from the sense that like you can do what you want and the competitive players can kind of have what they need to play and nothing else. But again, like I am always a big advocate for having the game be as close to the professional environment as possible, just because I think that really promotes like a healthy esport and a healthy game. I think they kind of go hand in hand. I've been involved in a lot of esports titles where like the competitive game is just so far removed from the pro, from the casual game. Like for example, World of Tanks. Like World of Tanks is a 15-15 game, 15v15 game, and then when you play pro, it's either 5v5 or 7v7. And it's just like, yeah, the map's the same, but like the game plays completely different when you have half as many players playing the game. Like it's just like what, change the game or change the esport or whatever. So I think just have it as close as possible. That would be the main goal, in my opinion. One thing that I do appreciate that they've done with Inferno, if I'm going to keep going with that, is that they have like obviously looked at it and thought, what do people kind of need to still play? For example, that the scaffolding that they've put over the top of the B-site roof, the B-site banana roof, where you can like throw nades from the, like you can hit the scaffold and bounce like as if it was off the skybox, which obviously there is no skybox, so a lot of those nades are now impossible, but they've kind of still obviously thought about it in enough of a sense that there is that kind of there. But so much really changes, I think, with the map in terms of like, you know, the smokes from CT spawn that you can throw for ramp and stuff like that. I don't know, that's going to have to be looked at and stuff like that. This is kind of getting into the whole skybox discussion anyway, which I did sort of want to do anyway. But I mean, I don't think we're even really scratching the surface with what people are going to figure out for the whole new utility system with not being able to hit a skybox. Like, this is going to be insane. I think there's going to be some absolute madness.
There'll be some tweaking though, and like that's to be expected. Like maybe the map doesn't change on a seasonal. Like maybe they don't change the entire. Maybe they don't keep the map pool from changing, but maybe they make different tweaks to the map within those seasons. For example, like remove skyboxes, add scaffolding.
Every map has no skybox now. Is that right? There's no such thing as a skybox.
That's my
There's no skybox. No.
Yeah.
That's
weird, isn't it?
There was this period in time where, like, for example, in CSGO early, you could throw a Molotov and it had no expiry timer as long as it didn't hit the ground. Like, you could Molotov the bottom of banana on Inferno from CT spawn.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. Like, I don't think we're going to get to that level of ridiculousness, but I think they're going to play around a little bit with some of these open skyboxes and maybe whether or not they add or remove certain things, I think is potentially even just enough of a map change on a seasonal refresh, if that's the approach that they're going to go with.
See, you're a bit of a, so I use the terminology crackhead again, Viridian. You obviously, when it comes to utility, you're a bit of a util crackhead. I see you in the what do you call them? Not the prac servers, but, you know, just in your own little server, throwing util around the place.
Not HEs though.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts been on this whole new system? Because you've been coming up with a lot. You've been trying to find stuff.
Well, like earlier today, I was on Inferno, and I was going to add to your Inferno stuff. The map design, it makes it so that, like, it's just a lot different to take map control. Because on Inferno, they've increased the size of, like, building heights. Yeah. Like, on top mid, it's just the sky. You just see building.
Yep.
So, in terms of, like, how are you supposed to use the flash effectively to flash off?
Can't flash Nana the same way you used to.
Exactly. You have to, like, swap the angle, and it might not be as effective for the top. But I was testing out a jungle flash from just bottom mid, like, as a T taking top mid, to flash off an AWP or something. Right. And it's like, it can't be effective unless you bounce it off the wall from the middle lane.
Of course, if you bounce it off a wall, it's not as good.
Yeah, it's not as effective. So, like, it just completely changes how effective you can take map control. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But in terms of the skybox utility, like, there's certain situations in CSGO where on Mirage you can fake and execute from across the map, but it's still really not that effective. Right. Like, if you're clued, you can kind of read it.
You know where that smoke's coming from. It's coming from B halls. You're like, mid-window smoke from B halls. Sus.
Yeah,
exactly. And, like, the timing for when the smokes actually pop, it would need, like, a lot of strategical kind of thinking to actually make things effective about just looking like you're showing off util.
What do you think about the one-ways? Obviously, one-ways are not, I don't think they're nearly as overpowered as what they were in Global Offensive, but they do still exist in the sense that, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, obviously you can throw a smoke, and if it lands above something, it blooms, and there's like a gap underneath it that if you're close to it, you can't see through it, but if you're far away from it, you can see people's feet, kind of thing. So
that actually happened in CS 1.6, where like players you could exploit it by looking at the floor.
Right.
So, like, for example, you throw a smoke in front of you, and this was late. It was only late in the cycle of CS 1.6 that people discovered this, but like 32-bit smokes back in the day, you could just drop it at your feet. And then just look at the floor, and then you can see as if the bottom of the smoke doesn't exist. Right. So if you've got like that, you know, ability to aim on your Y-axis, you could just go.
Well, the perfect example of it is the Vertigo ramp one, which lands like on the little ledge above the ramp, and you can just basically see down the bottom of ramp from up on top of ramp on A site. I don't know. It's not. I think it's not going to be as big of a thing as what one-ways are currently, obviously, but I don't know. I feel like there's still going to be a lot of like nerdy little ones that people kind of figure out.
That's good. I like that.
With the new one-way smokes, like with that Vertigo one, there'll just be new metas to counter it.
Well, you can just nade it.
Yeah, you can nade it, or you can just block it and still prog up towards ramp.
Yeah.
But in terms of effectiveness, like the one-ways will still always punish the inexperienced or like lower tier players. But when you actually come up against clued players, they'll figure out counters that just farm you.
They won't even, like, they'll see it and they'll know, I'm not going to peek ramp.
Yeah, and if you die, then you're just feeding at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to scale. Like, with skill, it'll scale.
Yeah. But I think we'll still see them. I think that's kind of the takeaway to me is, like, we will still see some form of, like, what's the word? Maybe like utility...
Ingenuity?
No, I can't think of the word. It's like when you're taking advantage of, like, the extreme...
Abuse.
Abusing.
No, I mean, I guess abuse. Yeah, probably not the word I was looking for. But anyway, like, well, I guess it is. Like, in a way, like if there's a way to abuse smokes or flashes or HE nades or whatever, Molotovs, I don't know. People are going to find a way to use it. Eventually, someone's going to find a way.
It's going to be an evolution, right? Like, you get excited when you see a new boost in CS. It's going to be no different than you see a new piece of utility and you're like, oh my goodness, like what is Olaf doing on that pixel?
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the topic of utility as well, I know this is something that you brought up, Viridian, but I actually kind of noticed it myself, and I didn't really think about it so much. I didn't think it was something that other people had issues with, but I assume that tweet that you made, like, was it yesterday, about the smoke and the flash comparison? I didn't quite get 100% what your meaning was, but was it just the fact that you couldn't really easily tell the difference between the two when they're flying through the air? Because that's what it is to me. Is like sometimes I'm not a professional player, but I've never turned away from as many smokes as I have in CS2. Like, it's crazy to me. I can't tell the difference sometimes. So I think that's something as well. They've just like thinned the smoke grenade or something like that.
Yeah, so like I didn't communicate it properly, but the model when it flies through the air,
I'll put some footage on the screen.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like the visual that you see when a smoke or flash flies over like an execute or whatever. It's like you can't react fast enough compared to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, where
the smoke's slower.
Yeah, it's like it's different speed, and also the model, like the flashes, I don't know, it's just they look very similar, so you can't actually play anti, and it's so hard to focus on like killing someone when you see a flash or a smoke fly over.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? It's really annoying. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to change it or if it's maybe just something that we kind of have to get used to, I guess. But that's just a small thing that I personally noticed and kind of had an issue with.
Target identification is big, though. Like, if you know it's a smoke coming in, like, then of course you're not going to turn from it. But like, as soon as you recognize it, though, like, I feel as though the smoke instantly becomes slower. It might just be placebo perception.
Maybe.
I don't know. You see it coming and you know it's a smoke almost instantly.
I don't know unless it lands, like it hits the ground, you hear the smoke sound, or it flashes in my face. You know what I mean? Like at some points, I'm just like, fuck, that could be anything. I'm just gonna have to keep looking at the angle.
Yeah. So like with the smoke grenade just had, it's like the model, it's not as bright as it was in CS:GO.
Right.
So since it's darker, it looks very similar to the flashbang, and so it's like, like what Jim was saying was you just can't recognize or distinguish it really quickly. So the reaction's slow.
See, I don't know if it's just because I'm shit.
No.
Or if it's because I'm not used to it, or if other people are dealing with it. But hey, I mean, maybe you guys can let us know in the comments if you also have that problem. Because again, I don't think it's a big deal. I think people will kind of get used to it. But it is just, again, another little thing to sort of note, a little change. I want to talk about audio as well. Have you guys had any issues with the audio? I find it really hard to tell where people are.
Default was bad, but there was this command that was going around that like there was a sound space
command? 2 or something like that.
Speaker 2, and one's actually better for me.
Okay.
Like but that just improved it tenfold.
Also, I think another thing was like if you have like an equalizer on your headset, it might have bested it a little bit, so it made it even sound more wonky compared to
I don't
CS:GO.
know if I have an equalizer on my headset.
Sound like you had a fishbowl on your head initially. Like people were running around you and you're like, what is going on? Like I can't hear.
Really weird.
But again, people always say stuff, and then like for example on Vertigo, when you're running from CT spawn to A, people will always say like, oh, 2 toward A or something like that. And I'm like, how the fuck did you hear that? I didn't hear that. So I don't know if it's just me or if it's my audio settings or something, but sometimes I just don't hear shit. So
I reckon people just make stuff up too. Like that's a factor.
Ghost calling.
Yeah.
And they're so smart when it's right.
Yeah.
Just so that they sound like they're doing something.
It's a percentage thing, right? It's like, 50% of the time I'm right.
Is there anything really to touch on with audio? Like, I feel like it's actually not in a terrible spot, personally.
It's getting better. Yeah. And there was an uptate today that made it even better. So I
was going to say, they actually don't have a really good bass standpoint too, because CSGO's audio was always questionable.
Yep.
To be honest with you. Like, sometimes you couldn't distinctly tell whether someone was above you or below you. Like, Nuke's a really good example of that.
Yep.
But there's going to be adaptations to that. They're going to see players, for example, breaking the windows outside and, mimicking it being underneath in the other room, the control room. So, like there will be adaptations to that. And like as players just accept what is going to be finality on the settings, then the evolutions will come.
The only thing I'll say is that I'm not such a huge fan of some of the gun sound changes. I think in particular, the one that I really have an issue with. No, I mean, whatever. I don't care. The one I have a real big issue with is the Glock when you're changing the, whether it's burst fire or single tap. It doesn't sound the same, so you can't do the rattlesnake anymore. Like, you can, but it doesn't sound the same. That's my issue.
The AWP scope kind of like weirds me out a little bit.
I like the AWP scope sound.
It's like a camera shutter.
I kind of like it. I actually kind of like it.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm used to the AK, but
Yeah, I'm used to the AK.
the Galil sounds a bit weird.
Did they change the M4A4? Because
No.
anecdotally, I used to only use the A1S. Now I only use the A4 pretty much.
If it is, it's very minimal. Like I can't notice.
Yeah, I don't think so much on
I don't know.
that.
The A4 just feels really, really much better to me than the A1S in CS2.
The traces always throw me off as well. Like the spray's off. You know, I'm blaming the traces, but whatever. You know.
Okay, well, I mean, if we want to move on from audio, then I want to start sort of like wrapping this up, and there's a couple of things that I want to do in doing so. The first thing I want to sort of talk about is what is actually missing from the game right now, right? Because there's obviously it's not in a release state, and I think I've come up with a few things like that are kind of obviously not there that I didn't really think about until I was like kind of preparing for this, and I was thinking, okay, what would I actually want to see in the game when it releases? Like, what would you expect from a game that is about to release? First of all, match history. There's no match history.
Yeah.
There's no demos. I mean, there is demos, but you have to go through like this whole convoluted process to get them. And even then, I couldn't get it to play on my PC personally. So it just didn't work for me. So that's definitely something that I think kind of needs to be picked up pretty quickly before. Like, there's no way that they release the game until that is sorted out.
Yeah.
So we've still got a little while.
Like, that stuff will get added in from just one update. It's like
I know
really
it'll
simple.
get added in, but the point is like, until we have that in, or unless it comes in the release patch, then the game's not getting released.
There's a demo UI thing set up, but it's just not easily accessible.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in terms of things to add, my main priority is movement. Like,
Yeah.
if the movement isn't the same as CSGO, then it's just, I don't
Dead
know.
to me.
It's dead to me. Movement and obviously mechanics, it just needs to be exactly the same. Or like,
Okay.
close to it, polished as much as it can be.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a way of just easing players some way, either economically or whatnot, into like MR12.
Right.
Like MR12 for me is probably still the sticking point. I think everything else will, through the life cycle of development, will get fixed, or players will either adapt or come up with new strategies to deal with it. But like
Yep.
MR12, like you got to play the hand that you're dealt with the economy, with the as Viri was touching on, like building your story, conditioning play, like. There's almost going to need to be a philosophical change for a lot of teams in the way they play CT side and T side to adapt to MR12. Like you're just not going to be able to, condition a team by like running the same default and making variations of it. You're just not going to get that many bites of the cherry to try and do that on an MR12 match. So it's going to be, I think they've got to come up with a way to at least initially address the economy. Like, because if they go into it with the current economy, you're going to have some pretty one-sided matches, and teams are just going to we lost the economic battle. It's not that we, did necessarily so poorly, but we just didn't have the money to do what we needed to do on certain rounds.
Another one, I think, custom workshop maps, obviously. If you can't basically. Also, they need to fix DM. Like I know that's probably a bit of an aside, but I think DM is pretty horrible actually in CS2, with the whole spawn protection and having to buy your gun and like all this. And,
I hate that.
I don't know, it just feels weird. And anyway, there's that, but not a huge concern really. But like, workshop maps definitely I think needs to come in. Community
The whole
stuff.
community thing, yeah.
Yeah, because that's big. Like KZ, Surf, like that's half the fucking player base, really.
Yeah, it's weird though, because like, there's people are bringing up servers already to join, but it's just the user interface isn't there.
Right.
They just need to implement it.
Okay.
I was going to say, I agree that like community is probably a really big one, because that's literally how Counter-Strike spawned. It was a mod of Half-Life, and like throughout its iterations, it's been the community and some of those more outrageous modifications that have kept players playing. Like for example, maybe you don't feel like playing competitive, but you want to play like a Warcraft 3 mod, or you want to play KZ, or like it keeps you playing the game when you're not playing the competitive version.
So the only other thing that I would have would be, and I don't even know if they have this in CSGO, I can't remember, is like, is there any way to like sort... Oh, yeah, it's all right, you can plug it in. It's on the side. It'll still work. The only... What was I saying? I don't know if this is in CSGO, but is there a way to search your friends list in CSGO, or like favorite your friends in CSGO? I don't think there is, right?
No.
Not through CSGO directly.
No, directly in the game.
Through Steam.
Yeah, obviously in Steam, but
Yeah,
like
you
in the
can.
game. I know that's like a little thing, but like I have a lot of friends on Steam. Humble brag. But
It's just
when I
like
have
a-
to scroll all the way, like if I want to play with you, Viridian, right? Your name on Steam, well, let's just pretend your name on Steam is Viridian. instead of Bowser Zero or whatever the fuck already.
Viridian.
Which also, by the way, we're not friends on Steam, so it's a moot point. But it's just for the example. V's all the way at the bottom. Okay, so I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to invite my friend Viridian to a game.
Search bar?
Yeah, put a search bar in.
Yeah, or like BattleNet with the favorites.
Or add favorites. I want to have favorites. I want to have a few friends that I've got in my favorites that if they're online, I see if they're online and I invite them. So
you can 5-stack and get your rating up.
Yeah. I know that's like not really a big deal to most people. Probably everyone's here to like, oh, we want to talk about the competitive aspects and blah, blah, blah. But I think that's like a real quality of life thing that, would be nice if it was in.
Right? Like without those sort of community friendly functionality, you're not going to grow the competitive player base. And I think that's probably one of the biggest, excitements around CS2 is the fact that there's going to be a refreshment of that. You're going to bring players back. You're going to bring players across from other games. You're going to attract new players entirely. And like, if it just doesn't have that user friendly community aspect, people like, CS has a steep learning curve. You got to try and ease them into it, at least in some way. And if you can make getting into the competitive scene a little bit more friendly, then you're going to have finally some players that are going to more players will make that transition and faster.
Okay, so just to end the conversation, I want to touch on what you guys think might happen in CS2 in the future. Like, is there anything you think that they will add that isn't in already, or isn't even in CS:GO? Like, because this will be interesting to look back on in 5 years. That's kind of the point. That's the kind of the takeaways. Like, in 5 years, where do we think CS2 is at? What's in the game? What sort of outlandish prediction have you got for the game that you want to mark down in history? I have two.
That they start caring about it?
Hold up.
Isn't that already started?
Hold up. I think, I don't know if it's outlandish. It's not really outlandish, but what we were saying before with the seasons, like having season rewards, or like leaderboards reset for your matchmaking, and then you get rewarded for whatever.
Every 6 months or 12 months? Like, is it a year thing?
Quarterly.
Because what's Valorant? I don't know what Valorant is, but I know it's more than once a year.
There's 4 seasons in a year.
Yeah, that's too much though. I think it should be with the major cycle, which would be every 6 months, give or take.
Yeah, 6 months.
Because the first major of the year is in March. I believe it's in March. Next year, and so then the second major would be when, like
September, October,
late September, October.
Yeah.
I'd probably want to see it be around October. So you sort of have this natural 6 month cycle, where you can sort of, that would be, I think, as the major starts, like on the day the major starts, the season ends. That would be pretty cool, because that would be a way to again integrate the game into the esport, where people know on the day that the season ends, the major starts, and that's like a celebration of that season. Yeah. And you could call the seasons something as well. Like make them some kind of cool name. I don't know.
It's got that hype. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they used to do the operations, right? Like that was the way that they did it. But like iRacing, for example, in the sim world, they have like normally they go on a quarterly cycle. It's like 12 weeks of racing, and then they have like a week 13, which is like you're easing into the new pool, maybe. And they're easing that in, but like nothing counts towards your rating per se. So like you play as much as you can in that week to get used to like maybe some of the newer maps or settings or anything like that. But that requires them to be prepared for it. But yeah, just like maybe like that week where things really don't matter too much in terms of your rating, and that eases you into things. I think that'd be pretty cool if they're going to introduce the seasons. It's not like you just boom, competitive season starts now and you've got to be getting going from the get-go.
I think that's a great idea. Actually, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to see that in 5 years if that was the case. Call it, I don't know, like where's the next major again? Does anyone remember? Is it Bucharest? It's not. It's PGL or something.
It's PGL, I know that.
Where is it?
It's not.
I can't remember.
I don't think Romania.
They announced it, didn't they?
1 sec.
Copenhagen. Isn't it in Copenhagen?
Yeah.
They took the fucking Blast studio thing, the whole arena. There was that whole like drama about
Copenhagen or Stockholm?
I thought it was, where's Blast? They're in Denmark, aren't they?
They're Denmark. So
I'm pretty sure it's in Denmark.
I was going to say Denmark or Sweden.
Pretty sure it's in Denmark.
I feel like it's going Nordic.
No, not the Blast one, mate.
Where's the next CSGO major? Paris.
No, Paris just happened.
Yeah, Blast.
Is it outdated?
Look at the PGL Major 2024 or something like that. Google that. Because I'm pretty sure it's in...
It's not Antwerp.
No, the whole drama was that they took the arena that Blast have in.
Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's what that was this whole drama about, because like it's their home... It's like basically... It would be like if PGL ran an IEM Sydney in Kudos Bank Arena. Because that's like obviously ESL's home territory in Sydney. Yeah. So that's kind of like what's happened with Copenhagen.
So we're coming onto your home turf.
So the point what I'm trying to make is you would call this like the Copenhagen season. Or like Copenhagen... I don't know, Copenhagen season 2024 or something like that. And then, for Copenhagen season 2024, we will play on the 7 maps that are in the pool right now. And then for let's pretend the next major's in China, which is apparently the rumor. It's like Shanghai season 2024, and you're playing Shanghai season 2024, and like then there'll be like this cool name that you can like. Oh, I was global in Copenhagen season 2020. I mean, working title. Let's just be real. It's not fantastic, but it's kind of a cool idea or something like that.
Yeah,
cool concept.
Operation Copenhagen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. One thing or two things that I thought were end game animations. I don't know if you've seen this, like, but obviously when you get into don't laugh. All right. This is a monetization strategy, Valve.
Flash mob.
I think this is fantastic. At the end of the game, obviously, all your dudes are standing there and they're just like, even at half time, right? You get the guy with the deagle. He's like doing this. Yeah. That's my favorite one. That's kind of cringe. But it's pretty funny to me. But I think what they could do is they could sell animations for that, like take the L dance, like Fortnite style.
Some of the agent models
they do. Unique. I know that's what brought me onto it because I saw some guy dancing. I was like, why is this guy dancing?
One guy was handstanding. It's like
they will sell that shit and they will make money.
I reckon you got to get players involved in that somehow. Get them in like the green man suit. Get like a Dick Stacy like green man suit. Like
get pro collection.
Yeah, get him to do something like
that's fantastic.
Get the players involved somehow. Like get Moe with the keyboard. Like,
Get Dick Stacy being suplexed by Henry G. Okay, just 3D track that from when he was in the fucking Australia man suit and flips over on his back and gets suplexed at IEM Sydney. That could be an end screen animation.
That would sell.
Australians would buy that.
Take my money.
Okay, and speaking of other things that would sell, shoe skins.
Exactly. We said it at the same time.
Shoe skins. They've got to put it in now.
I don't know, man.
Jim, you're a skin man.
That's taking the piss. Like,
actually,
you're ripping the soul out of the game.
You know what the irony is? He loves his skins and he loves his shoes. So this is the perfect thing for you.
That's true.
Would you buy some like bright red kicks in CS2?
No, because someone's going to shoot me through a smoke because I'm wearing them.
Yeah. No, but also, bright red skin.
Actually,
same thing.
That reminds me. Yeah. One point that I was going to say, they need some sort of like great equalizer, like a min models is the way that they've been terming it. But you need...
Don't know if they're going to do that.
But like maybe it's a competitive setting. You can choose to turn on or off from the client side. They used to do that in CS 1.6.
Yeah.
And you could just choose to see only one style of model and that's it.
But they won't want to do that because obviously that will devalue the skin market.
Only if you choose though. It's a client side
no, trust me, because in Rust the exact same thing happened. I bought a camo armor pack basically. It's like called like forest camo or something like that, and so it's like obviously green and whatever, and you put it on your clothes, and then when you're running through the forest, and I know this is a slightly different game because obviously camo kind of actually matters in Rust because it's about spotting your opponent running around, but you used to be able to do min models basically. What you're saying is like, because then everything like the default hoodie color is red, but you could color it like green if you had this skin which you paid for, so it's kind of like pay to win, but it's not really pay to win. But as soon as they changed that as well, they changed it like a year ago that you can't have min models anymore. You have to see the skin that someone's wearing, and all of my skins went up by like 4x.
But that's the inverse.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but like, for example, do you remember like some of the Halloween seasons that they've had? Like, obviously Halloween's not huge here in Australia, but like CT models would have masks that they would glow in the smoke. You could see someone in the smoke, like
the payday masks.
Yeah, the payday masks and things like that. Like, people would get shot through smokes. Oh, why? You're like the mask that you have no control over.
I don't disagree with you. I would like to see that be a thing. I don't want to see condom head running around. I want to see the default T model.
That skin, and it is so stupidly good.
Yeah.
There was like one broken skin, one in like sandals. So it's got like no trousers, and it's just the hitbox is just thin up.
And then they hold these weird lines like graffiti on overpass on that bench, like holding long. You come up and you never really check for it, but even if you are checking for it, you can't see it with some of these CT models.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see it. I just don't think that they will do it.
Well, ESEA or Face It, they had in their servers, they just disabled it, or like some tournaments disabled it, and I can't remember if Valve told them to re-enable.
Yeah. See, I think the thing is they'll stand to gain too much money from it being on.
Yeah, but also the other thing with the economy, like if you have a min or just disable it, I don't think it'll affect the economy too much because the agent models, like it's their own thing. You can't trade up agent models. It's like their separate thing. So I'm not sure, but yeah.
But wouldn't a min models just be for like everything? It takes off your shoe skins. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it'd just be like
takes off your gun skins, takes off your shoe skins.
Yeah, no way.
Like there's a map default, right? Like there's a map default model for like T's on Inferno and things like that. Happen. It just maybe puts it or everybody to the map default.
Yeah.
No, no way.
Do you guys have any other ideas, predictions? My more predictions, by the way, they're going to do that. They're going to see this video and they're going to make money and they're going to give me 1%. Yes.
I reckon belt buckles.
Belt buckles.
We're really going down the right. What about rings?
Oh.
Rings?
Rings. Major rings. You win win a ring in the major. You get an in-game. Sorry, you win the major. You get an in-game ring, and you can put it on your model. And you'll see it on your gun or on your knife when you're holding your knife.
Flexing
out
too much right there. Or watches.
Yeah.
The players get an inventory coin. Like you could, that shows on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But like,
make a ring.
Maybe some bling that's like instantly visible because maybe you got multiple majors. Maybe you don't want to choose which one was your personal favorite.
Yeah. Rainbow Six had keychains or Valorant had keychains.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, like
gun
chains. Yeah, buddies.
Maybe they have that for the oh wait, nade skins, Zeus skins.
Nade skins, Zeus skins, true. Because you can inspect nades now, right?
But like grenades, you're already having trouble. You're already having trouble identifying the
Scratch
grenade.
The nade skins, just Zeus skins though. That's
true. Nade skins would be a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
I reckon the bomb skin, surely.
All we're coming up with is monetization strategies.
Well, that's what
keeps the game alive.
So good.
Valve, you get your 15% rake back on the Steam market. Like, you're right. They don't want the skin values to go down. But look, honestly, I think maybe, as I said, like competitively, min models, that would be an interesting topic. As we've already seen, people went wild when I think it was Starladder were doing like gloves.
Right.
And then that's like team sets of gloves.
Yeah, those are cool. The concept.
Yeah, I think like team sets of gloves would actually be pretty cool.
I definitely think that's something that they could do as well, is that they could sell team skins in the game. Yeah.
Esport, like an esport
I mean, obviously
shop,
stickers
like
is a thing, but like you could have a hoodie or something for your model or something. I don't know. Like that. I mean, it's so easy for us to come up with dumb ideas like that. I don't know if it's necessarily good.
The problem
or not,
is we get taken seriously when we do.
Yeah. Look, we should probably wrap it up. We're just rambling at this point. So, is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up the CS2 discussion? Is there anything I've missed? Because I feel like it was pretty comprehensive with like talking about pretty much everything.
I think this actually needs to be more of a global game than CSGO is, because at the moment it's pretty much like European offensive.
Yeah,
you need to
more and more these days.
Yeah, you really need to try and recapture Asia, North America, like South America. I think never really left, but I feel as though like the focus on them just isn't there.
Yep.
And I don't know. I'd love to see maybe some more like South African or African nations as well.
But how do you do that without Valve having a direct input?
They need to. Like they need to also.
So you actually think Valve needs to have some kind of circuit or something that they mandate or that they put money towards? I think Valve should definitely put a little bit more money towards the esport personally, because they make so much off of the game. They do put money towards the majors. Obviously, we know that. But if they would have like some kind of Valve mandated circuit or something like that to at least give back to the game, to give back to especially the underdeveloped regions. Like, let's be real, Europe doesn't need any help at this point. But if they would mandate something in North America, Europe, and North America and in Asia, then that's big.
Surely it can be set by region, right? Like, for example, they take a 15% rake back on Steam transactions, right? They will be able to track that by which region it happens in.
China's making a lot of money.
China's making a lot of money. I know, but like, wouldn't it be great if they took a percentage of that and reallocated it back to that region for events in that region?
What's the incentive though? That's the thing. It's like they already make so much money as it is.
But then they get more people involved.
Do they get more money? Or are they already making that much money that they don't give a fuck anyway?
But like, they can grow that. You know what I mean? Like, the more people you have playing CS, the more people you have on the Steam market.
It's true. I would love to see that. I would love to see a little bit more investment in Asia in particular. Obviously, everyone knows that watches my YouTube content and talks to me or follows my Twitter. It's like I'm a big Asia fanatic, you know. And I watched, I think it was Flom doing an interview yesterday. I watched it, and he was talking about the same thing. He wanted like a North America league, like wanted North America Pro League, ESL Pro League back. Yeah. I really do think that the region lost a lot when we lost ESL Pro League Asia and we lost ANZ ESL Pro League as well. Because like, you know, what is there to play in ANZ right now? There's ANZ Champs.
Very dry.
Which is kind of, you know, still not that much. And then there's this CCT Oceania thing and stuff like that. But like, there's never been less Counter-Strike to play in ANZ or in Asia than there ever has been. So I would like to see a bit more of an official, like, this is the big tier 1 tournament in the region kind of event for Asia, for North America, and for ANZ. Obviously biased because of ANZ. Maybe ANZ can go into Asia. Just have like some qualifier for the Asia, 2 slots or something like that. Yeah. But I just think like I mean, this is again sort of moving even away from the CS2 discussion. So it's more just like a general CS landscape discussion. But I think definitely having some kind of an environment for top 8 teams in NA and Asia to play in some kind of league against each other.
Yeah. I think if they can redirect some of the money that the region generates through either one of those Steam market methods or something like that, redirect some of the money like the region generates and direct it back into the region somehow and grow it, they're only growing their own pie. So I don't see why Valve wouldn't.
100%.
Yeah, imagine so you got the major of the sticker money. Imagine having like a sub kind of thing for regions.
Yeah. Dude, I just think like looking at what Valorant has in Asia, if CS had that same exact pathway or opportunity, dude, the opportunities that they have in Valorant are insane. There is no reason for a Southeast Asia player to play CS when Valorant exists. You think about those Paper X guys, they're like now one of the top teams in the world. They were playing in the grand final of like whatever Valorant champions or whatever. I think they're basically their equivalent of the world finals. They came second, but like half of them were ex-CS players. Like, you know, that team was like Forsaken, which is Xcurit's younger brother. Benkai, like Tommy was on that team at a certain point. Who did they move over with? Like, I can't even remember. Davai was on the team as well. He was from Boot, Dreamscape. Like, a lot of these players, and even the organization itself, like Paper X started in Counter-Strike. If that exact team had the same opportunities in Counter-Strike that they had in Valorant, they would not be in Valorant. They would still be in CS. But they don't have the same opportunities, so they move.
With Valorant, what's the difference between the Asia scene and Australia scene? Because I think in Australia it's just
Australia is a bit of a poo-poo.
Yeah, so, developer involvement.
There's a lot of dev involvement in Asia, but in ANZ it's just like LPL.
They just tender.
But Riot does it in Asia.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they tender it out. Like,
I mean, I don't know really what I'm talking about, but I just know there's a lot more investment in Asian Valorant than there is in ANZ Valorant, and certainly more than there is in Asian CS. That's where the thing is. Like, I don't know, is there an incentive for a TO to do a Asia League? Like, the only one where I see there is an incentive for is Perfect World, but that's only China. That's the only incentive is only China. Obviously, non-Chinese teams can play in it, but like, that's not even really broadcast out of China. Like, I did a co-stream for their last Pro League.
I wouldn't be surprised though that
that was the only English stream.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though that is a possibility. What's the incentive? Valve money. Like, you look at PGL. Yeah. PGL do the TI, right? Like, and they have a long-term contract to do TI with Valve,
right?
And it would be great to see maybe a TO pick that up and have some some investment.
Perfect World
something
run a pretty good product actually in Asia. Like, their show ran pretty well when I did the co-stream for it. I just got a clean feed for it. You know, it ran fine. There was no issues. Looked pretty solid. Like, it wasn't a tier 1 product in a sense. They just had like a dude or a couple of dudes in front of a green screen. But
to say, do they run that like VSPN?
I don't know who runs it. Okay. I don't know who runs it, but I think they're VSPO now, not VSPN by the way. But besides the point. But yeah, like if there was like an endemic TO to the region, but the problem is as well, you would have to choose the right TO. Because there would certainly be, if this money's getting involved, there'd be TOs that are going to throw a tender in that are not going to be able to execute on the product correctly, and that is even actually almost more harmful to the region.
I don't think Valve's going to take any shortcuts with that. They're not going to go, oh, that looks really attractive. You guys have just underquoted massively.
I'd want to see it go to like, you know,
proven entities.
ESL, Blast, PGL.
Someone with a BAS.
Does Star Ladder still exist? Probably not.
Yeah, someone with a business activity statement that's more than 1 year long. That. Someone, you're right. Like someone who has a track record of delivering on what they say they're going to do.
Anyway, look, that's all wishful thinking, I guess.
Yeah, we can wish.
In terms of topics, one more topic on the top of my head right now. So we talked about as a casual player and like as a competitive player, but in terms of MR12 and as a caster. Or like,
true.
Caster opinion.
True. This is actually something I wanted to talk about. Thank you for bringing that up.
What are your thoughts?
Fantastic. Fucking thank God.
Yeah, okay.
Thank fucking God.
Well, like as a pro player too, or, you know, a high level player, if you're playing so many games.
Dude, some games go forever.
They go forever.
Yeah.
It's good for scheduling.
You know, like you guys know obviously that I work multiple esports titles a lot. I work, at the moment, I work on actually just Counter-Strike. Because there isn't really anything else going on.
Yeah.
But, you know, within the last 24 months, I've done Water Tanks, Apex Legends, PUBG, you know, random Fortnite shows, stuff like that. Like, I've done a lot of stuff. And Counter-Strike is the longest broadcast for me of any title. Every other esports title, the broadcast day goes for like 6 hours is a long day in another title.
Yeah.
And CS broadcasts are like, if you're finished by 8 hours, you're pretty happy. And that's for 2 best of 3s sometimes.
Yeah.
So at the point where you get to 3 best of 3s, which is like a standard for like a big tier 1 tournament, that's like pushing 12 hours sometimes.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy for sure.
Especially with the not before start times as well. That's another thing. It's like if the games are 2-0, you just have to wait another hour for the next game to start, and that's also kind of shit.
And then tech pauses and.
I like that as a viewer though, not as a caster.
Well, yeah, I like that as a player too, though. Like you can schedule your life.
Oh, I agree. Like it is better for everyone that's not working on the production.
Yeah.
But for the people that are working on the production, you're like, fuck. Well, we wanted to go home an hour earlier, but now we have to wait for no reason. So I think MRTL's great. Obviously, the only concern that I have with that is like, and obviously a lot of people have been started to talk about this as well with it's kind of hard to justify best of ones now. Like you can't really do best of ones in MR12, I think. And like already best of ones are a bit of a question mark. So
get ready for them at the major.
Well, that's it. But that people are going to complain about that. There's going to be a massive outcry about it.
Imagine an open qualifier, best of one.
Yeah.
And
But
pistols.
Like best of ones are what kind of save broadcast times, right? Because people will now start to think, oh, maybe we can run 4 best of 3s in a day, which was already like kind of taboo, right? We all remember Extreme Land 2019. Jim.
Oh yeah.
So that's like almost now no one's running 4 best of 3s in a day. It's like 3 best of 3s. But now it's kind of getting to the point where like, yeah, we might be able to fit 4 best of 3s in a day and not have it be bad, and then shorten the total length of the tournament, which obviously saves a lot of money. But that's almost even worse because wouldn't 4 best of 3s be longer than 3 best of 3s? So it actually is a net negative for the broadcast team. So I'd like to see them just stay with 3 best of 3s. Yeah, it's a shorter day for everyone. I think that's great because CS days are very long, very long, especially when you do them back to back to back. Like we've done ESL Challenger Melbourne's gym. We've done IEMs and stuff like that. And like for example is Extreme Land. Like those events if it goes for like more than 3 days. By day 4, you're like, fuck, I don't want to get out of bed.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like that's what people that I don't think realize is like, oh yeah, okay, we're on broadcast that entire time, but either that or we're waiting around and
maximum 5 minutes of a break sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to fill.
If it goes to 3 maps, next map has to start in the next 20 minutes. You're doing 5 minutes post segment, 5 minutes pre segment. That's 10-minute break.
Yeah, and then like in that time you got to try and rest your voice.
Rest your voice, have some food, go to the toilet.
And it's not to complain about that or anything, because we do it because we enjoy it. But I think it is taxing. Yep. Like it is very taxing. Like that's why people like. I think, what was it, Mac at IEM, IEM, it was like ESL Challenger Melbourne. Day 2, his voice was gone. And it's like, there's still another day after today with the finals.
I've had days like that as well. I've had broadcasts like that where I'm like, fuck, I can't talk, but I've got to keep talking. Yeah. It's my job. And I've got another 3 days of this.
I think that was you as well at Challenger Melbourne. That was, look, it's pretty brutal. And like, I think extending the schedule, like, the costs will come in other ways. If they're trying to save costs, they're going to need to extend their talent roster, for example. Like that is actually, a cost that people will need to factor in. It's going to be a whole different economy there.
Would be good for the show, I think, if they did that, Jim.
Absolutely.
So, have you got anything to say there, Eddie? Because you obviously did a bit of casting yourself. Not a huge amount.
No, I don't know if I can have a
super informed opinion.
Yeah, but in terms of as a player, I'm not too fussed about like just hard spamming games in a day. But like, if you have to, like, in terms of the time, how long it takes for best out of 3, and if you're going overtime, tech pauses, all that stuff, like, you do get exhausted. Yeah. Or, like, some people do get exhausted. Yeah. It takes a lot of energy, so,
Yeah. And that's why you see teams, like, in a long series, like, if there's a blowout in, like, map 3, you already know that, like, they're expended. Like, everything that they've got was in that previous map.
But that's also, like, kind of testing the solid teams, like, just full energy, full focused. But, it just takes a lot of energy in general. So
I do think BO5 is now more viable. Best of 5 major final, I'd like to see.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, that's good.
That's more viable.
Because this is the one other thing that I've put, and I know this is again a tangent, but if the major final is not a best of 5, why is literally any game a best of 5?
Yeah.
If the major final is not a best of 5, why is generic ANZ CS qualifier a best of 5? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Look, I think with that as well, like they can have a bit of fun here with the OT. I think I saw one of the suggestions from Pimp as well, which was like, okay, play your first round of OT as a standard like MR3, then reduce the next, like instead of having like these multiple MR2. OTs, essentially you like
that's interesting. I don't
the
mind
next
that.
set is MR2, and then there's an MR1, and then it becomes like that sort of it's used in like tennis
like
or exactly like a tiebreaker situation. Like you just
I really like that as a concept actually, because I do think these games, they don't often go past, let's be real, they don't often go past like OT3. Like how often do you see like 4 OTs, 5 OTs, 6 OTs? Not really that often, but the fact that it can.
In MR12 though, it might be a different factor.
I mean, but the fact that it can, I think it's obviously really painful for schedule. I can still remember that 7 OT game that I casted and I was just like, fuck, when is this going to end? And it was only map 1 of the first series. We had 2 series.
It's either that or like they go to some stupid rule. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen some like, usually it's like in the school system, they have like soccer games where like it goes into extra time. And then after like a period of time, they remove a player from each team. Oh, what? And then eventually they're playing 12v1? Like 7-on-7 or something like that. The minimum players you can have on the field. Yeah. And like, don't be wrong, the players are wrecked by the end of it. But like, that, the game has to end at it actually totally changes the like the makeup of the game. Like, I don't know. I reckon there might be some tweaks here. Different TOs might be able to implement different.
I don't think TOs are going to change anything. TO's not going to rock the boat unless Valve says it's like the major format. That's my take. Anyway, we've been going on for an hour and a quarter. The dog's getting antsy again. Is there anything else, or should we wrap it up? I'm ready to wrap it up.
No, yeah. I think we're in the very early stages of CS2. Like we're barely in this third, fourth wave of beta invite. So like, wait until we go deep into either beta or the full release, and I think we'll see either our ideas blown out of the water, or like they're actually low key listening to everything that we say.
Well, it's been a pleasure, guys. It's been a good chat.
Thanks for having me on.
I always like doing it in person. I feel like this is way better than doing it online.
This is a great studio setup too, Jordan.
I know.
I'd like to see
professional studio setup, by the way.
Very professional.
To be fair, this is where like I feel like the best raw content comes out. Like no glitz, no glam,
There's nothing special.
Just get on the microphone and say what you need to say.
Tell you what, if you want to help me improve the studio, buymeacoffee.com/elfishguy. You can put some money towards it.
Or join the Elf Illuminati.
You can sub to me on Twitch as well. These guys, I do appreciate them coming on as well. You should follow them on Twitter and stuff. It's Deep Gimpact on Twitter.
Yep.
And what's your Twitter?
Bowdersaviri.
See, this is the problem, man. Anyway, actually, you should follow him on Twitch. I think that's where you'd probably want people to go, right?
Yeah, Bowser0 on Twitch.
Bowser0 on Twitch. See, there you go.
Not quite on that monetization yet.
Not yet. All right, but thanks, guys, for watching. Obviously, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think about CS2, as well as follow these guys. It would be much appreciated. And we'll see you for the next one. Hey guys, just at the end of this video, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Jean, who is my first supporter on buymeacoffee.com. If you'd also like to support me financially or any of my content, make sure to check out the link. It is in the description box below.